At what time period was Prophet Isaiah? Prophet Isaiah was just around the 700 BC, around 700 BC, if I'm correct. I have the exact date mentioned in the book, but he was in that time period. He was in that interim between Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam and Prophet Isa alayhi salam. He was in that interim in between. He came at the time of the Babylonian conquests. The first Babylonian conquest was defeated. He was sent, and he advised the king of the Jews at that time, who was a pious individual, and he listened to Isaiah's counsel, and they were able to keep the Babylonians at bay. They actually captured Nebuchadnezzar, and they kept him prisoner. Then, for some reason, that king passed away. The next king who came in, while Isaiah was still alive, he wanted to do his own thing. And so they ended up freeing Nebuchadnezzar, which he was counseled not to do. Nebuchadnezzar went back to Babylon, built up his army. Within a few short years, he attacked. But in that interim, Isaiah kept warning the Jews that what they're doing is going to lead them astray. They were reaching height of corruption again. And finally, they decided that he has to die. So they ended up, he tried to escape. This is how the legend goes. Ibn Kathir mentions it like this. He tried to escape them. A tree called out to him, and he hid into the tree's trunk. But then Iblis showed the Jews where he was hiding. They took a saw and cut the saw in half, killing Isaiah in the process as well. And as soon as they did that, that was the mark. To kill a prophet of God, that's the mark. That's the end. You can't go further than that. You have to, now the punishment is divine. So as soon as they did that, by then Nebuchadnezzar was already on his way and destroyed the Jewish kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. Did the Prophet mention him? No, he did not mention him, but he has been mentioned by our historians, and his legend has been taken out of the Israelite traditions. So Ibn Kathir mentions him. Imam al-Tabari mentions him in a lot of detail. Much of it is derived from the Old Testament and then put together along with certain Israelite accounts, which some of them are extraneous. They really are borderline. So you have to be careful when you look at these accounts, especially in Imam al-Tabari's in his world history, because he puts everything in there. And this is a mark of good scholarship, actually, because he shows you that we are aware of these and the scholars know how to filter them out. Any other questions? Well, symbolism is one way. Symbolism is one way of showing that sort of allegiance to the Antichrist by embellishing his own symbolism, because we do that. Human beings do that throughout. Whether you're Muslim, Hindu, Christian, doesn't matter who you are. Whichever creed that you follow, you will always try to embellish the symbolism of that creed. So, for example, me putting this on and this on, it's got nothing to do with Islam in that sense, but there is a symbolic representation that this attire is associated with a Muslim. And this is why I put it on, because that's what I want to advocate. The same case applies to any other denomination, and that denomination that follows the Antichrist, they will do his symbolism and advocate it, one-eyedness and all kinds of, the pyramid and these type of things, because they are the advocates. That's their religion. That's their God. They are the ones who are making it, and they are the ones who will worship it. So they're not really hiding it. It's not something that they want to hide in that sense. But the I cannot hear that.
I think
Brother Nuruddin, I think just type your question out and then Adil can read it out because I'm not able to hear from your microphone. Just type out your question, then Adil can read it out for me.
I think it took more time. I'm just saying, the one that I've followed don't know that I've followed. They are inconscious and they're following.
Well, yes, that's the whole idea because he's a deceiver, right? And his objective is to deceive. And so if people follow the deceiver without knowing he's the deceiver, then he's succeeding in his mission. And that's the whole idea. That's his purpose.
Yes,
You
but
see, so
if that man can return and back can to be conscious of the insanity that they are getting.
well, that's the whole that's the idea is that they're not conscious about it. That's the point of it. An individual who is deceived is not aware of deception. So in my book, I've highlighted 3 types of deceptions: a partial deception, a failed deception, a partial deception, and a complete deception. Insofar as a complete deception is concerned, it is a deception whereby the individual is not aware of the deception. Like you don't know that you're being deceived. If you know you're being deceived, then the deception fails. Now he is ad-Dajjal, he is the deceiver, the liar. That's a definitive article. So that's his objective. If he doesn't fulfill that objective, then his purpose in existence is pointless. There's no need for him to exist. So he has to succeed in that, which means there are people whom he must deceive. So there is a faction that is making him deliberately, right? Then there is the fringe of it, the masses in this case, the populace, who are unaware of that deception. So there's people who are pouring their heart out to AI, for example. This is part of your deception. You're plugging in information. And by the way, the more information you give to the deceiver, the better he can perform his act. When you look at con men, for example, the more information they can get out of you, the better they will be able to con you. When you look at stage magicians, the more information, they'll ask you questions that, from which they can get certain signs, certain telltale aspects of your personality, and then use that against you. So the more information you give them, the better he will be able to deceive you. This includes the selfies that you take, the pictures of your food that you take before eating and posting it on Instagram. And here's the thing, people who do these type of things, they think they're doing something so profound, like, there's nobody in human history has ever done what I have done, taking a picture of my food and putting it on Instagram before I eat. Or pouting my lips and taking a selfie before I, just to show the world how nice, I've dressed up today for myself, Why do you need to do that? They don't even know. What is that data, that information that you're providing? What is it going to be used for? They don't know. But it has to be used for something. It must be going somewhere. Well, where is it going? It's going to this source. It's going to the same source that created it. And the more information you feed it, the better the deception is going to be. Because then they can start providing you with information that is going to keep your mind contained within the materialistic world. So that mind that I mentioned in the beginning is only going to marvel at the phenomenal, but not at the noumenal, not at the supernatural. And even then, within the phenomenal, it is only going to marvel at those aspects of phenomena that are artificial, not natural, artificial. Things that are made. You see, the next new device, the new technology, the new iPhone is out, and then somebody is going to spend hours filming a review about it so that they can post it on YouTube. You see, and then somebody else is going to watch that for however long it will take, and then is going to comment, and then somebody else is going to make a counter video of that, and then somebody else is going to go out and purchase it, and then that person is going to sit for hours flipping through it like this, And this is how the mind is wasted out. Because again, going back to the subject of time, everyone has a limited amount of time. What are you using your time for? In what is your mind engaged in, insofar as the natural and the supernatural? What are you trying to achieve here? Now, if the Antichrist can keep your mind away from both the natural and the supernatural and keep it within an enclosed parameter that is artificial, then he has succeeded. And this is where majority of people are. They have been deceived right now, even before he has arrived. They're already in that bubble. They're already in that shell. Because he has so much information on every individual that it doesn't take much for you to be kept occupied for hours scrolling up your screen, going through information that is completely useless. It's trivial, it's pointless. It doesn't point you in any real direction. It doesn't help you understand the question of who are you? What is your identity? And what is your destiny? Where are you going? It doesn't help you understand that question, those two questions. Did I help, Brother Nuruddin? I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm having trouble understanding your question because of the volume, but I don't.
This time, the question, I tried to explain someone who deceived back and include himself on the good track. I wrote down.
Adil, do you have access to that?
Yes.
Can you read that for me, please? Thank you.
What is it? Can someone who are fully deceived back and free himself from the good track?
Yes, you can always free yourself. And that's the whole point of it also, is can you get out of the deception? But the first step to that is to realize that you're being deceived. You have to know that you're being lied to. And the only way to do that is to question what's being given to you. Once you start questioning what's being given to you, that normality that you're living, the life that you're living in the normal sense, you're waking up at this time and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're doing that. Why are you doing that? You see, go back, if you remember those who did the course on Kimya as-Saada, that's the first question that Imam al-Ghazali asks in his book. He's asking the question, do you know yourself? And if you say that, oh yes, I know myself, Imam al-Ghazali challenges that by saying, no, you don't. You know your body, you know your limbs, you know the parts of your face and all that, you know all that. But do you know why you do the things that you do? Do you know why you eat when you're hungry and what you're eating? Do you know where that drive is coming from? If you cannot understand that about you, the normality, the things that you do in your day-to-day, you don't know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, then you're not really thinking. Ergo, somebody is doing the thinking for you. Means you're following a preset of instructions given to you. Your life is unfolding based on somebody else's directive. And that directive has one source only. It's not divinity. If it's not divinity, it's demonic. If it's not come from revelation, it's come from the Antichrist. It's come from the demonic source. Once you realize that, and the only way you realize that is if you question that. Why do I do this? Why do I look at my phone? Why do I sit like this? Why do I eat in this manner? It goes right down to the finest particulate moment of your existence. You have to question that. You have to really, really reflect on the smallest thing, the thing that you always overlook, that you ignore about yourself, that you think is normal. You have to question that. Unless you question it, you will not know the answer. You have to question, why do I do this? Why do I dress in this way? Why do I walk like this? Is this the way it's supposed to be done? Am I doing what everybody else is doing? You see, if you find yourself like that, then your mind is either a hive mind, is part of a hive mind, or a herd mind. It's not an independent mind. A hive mind is like the bees, you see. You have the queen bee, she gives instructions and the hive moves accordingly. She controls the entire population. So there's a singular source that's giving instructions and you're following that source. In this case, what I'm trying, in terms of allegory, you're basically following a particular ideology that's out there. And this is why you will be given a label. Oh, so and so, okay, you're an atheist, or you're a pacifist, or you are a so and soist, and you're a so and soist. You're following a set of instructions. The herd mind is like, which is what's like it's happening right now in East Africa, in Rift Valley. I'm from that area. I'm from Nairobi. It's just very close by. Every year you have 2 migrations that take place across the Kenya-Tanzania border. It's called the Great Migration of wildebeest, zebras, giraffe, all these herbivores. They move back and forth seasonally depending on where they're able to get their water source and food from. So that's a herd mind. There's no specific leader. There's no specific individual at the forefront that's telling them go this way or go that way. Each individual in that herd just moves whichever way the herd as a whole moves, right? And in logic, that's called the bandwagon fallacy. Following a popular opinion because it's popular, because everyone's doing it, so I do it. And so you find, like mothers, for example, will give their children the phone to use. Why? Because everyone's doing it. But you don't question that. You see? Go and drink Starbucks coffee. Why? Everyone's doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. Why are you doing it? You have to question yourself. Why are you doing it? Forget what everyone else is doing. Until you question yourself, you will not be able to get out of the deception. You won't even know that you're being deceived. You're just going with the flow. I mean, and that's why we did that course. We did the course on Kimya Saada. It was not just like an introduction to psychology. It's part of my project in terms of, because I have that condensed in this book, The One-Eyed Imposter. The nafs, the understanding of the nafs, the aql, the shahwa, the ghadab, all those components. There is a section, there's a chapter there on deception itself and the mechanics, the neuroscience of deception. It's there. And we did that course on Kimya Saada for that purpose. If you can understand yourself, then you can make the right decisions regarding yourself, your faith, your existence in this world. Otherwise, join the masses. Brother Nuruddin, did I answer your question?
Yes, you answered the question, brother. I have just one more.
Yes.
That is the end of your.
I can't go into too much detail on that, but your question is very important, and I think this would require its own real session, because we are now talking about real solutions, right? How do you deal with the situation, and what options are available for Muslims? The Prophet ﷺ did point to Surah al-Kahf as the solution, and then within the surah there are 4 solutions that I came up with, because there are 4 parables that have been mentioned in there, 4 examples that you can follow. One of those is the example of the Ashab al-Kahf to make hijrah for the purpose of preserving your faith. Meaning that if you are in a land whereby your faith is being questioned, and you are in a situation whereby you're likely to face some sort of either physical persecution or even an ideological war that can really destroy your faith, then hijrah is an option for you to migrate, to leave that land and to find safer sanctuary elsewhere. The second is that of the rich man and the poor man, the parable of the rich man and the poor man. Meaning, insofar as the rich man is concerned, if you have wealth, then don't let that wealth corrupt you. Be cautious of that. And if you don't have wealth, then don't seek it out ardently, because that will also corrupt you. Because that's one of the testers. In my book, The One-Eyed Imposter, there's I think it's the second chapter. the test of life in time and dimensionality. And one of the tests that I put in there, because I highlighted 4 tests. One of the tests I put in there is the test of tawazun, of balance or of moderation. And it was to say that to be cautious of your life. You can read about it. It's on page 39. From page 36. The test of wealth, health, and indulgence. The test of wealth, health, and indulgence, or the test of tawazun, the test of balance, of moderation. Imam al-Ghazali thought that the human mind was created to identify balance and to live in balance and moderation. And he thought that knowledge was one of those things that provided the human mind balance. But it needed to be cultivated. And this is why he put a lot of emphasis on cultivating the human mind through logic. In fact, one of his books, he titled it Qistas al-Mustaqim, the balance, basically, or sort of the upright, the pathway that's the upright balance, not pathway. I'm mixing it up with Sirat al-Mustaqim. The upright balance. And he gives the example of Ibrahim alayhi salam, who is out in the wilderness and he's trying to find meaning in life, and how he uses logic to arrive at a sound conclusion. This is what you will be subjected to, these type of tests in life. You will be given wealth, wealth will be taken away from you. You will be given good health, health will be taken away from you. You will be given family, kin, children, parents, brothers, sisters. They will be taken away from you. All this you will be given and you will be taken away. He is the one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who gives you expansion and gives you contraction. And so he tests you in both. And what's being tested is your indulgence, your moderation, which you will gauge for yourself in the moment. The age of the Antichrist is going to aggravate that test, is really going to push you to the limits. And there are people who, the temptation is everywhere. Wherever you go, that temptation is there. Whether it's food, whether it's fashion, whether it's whatever, you name it. Walk down the streets and there's brand names everywhere. You know, it's all over. Unless you're living in isolation, it's very difficult to get out of that, to escape that. Turn on the television and it's temptation after temptation. Advertisement in every aspect, everywhere you look is advertisement. And that's what it's designed for. It's designed to advert your attention. That's an advertisement, to advert your attention, to capture it, to draw you in. It's designed to have that psychological hook of desire. That's what every advertisement is designed to do that. And you'll be tested. And so this is I'm really honing in on this particular day, because this is where a majority of people will find their solution. Not everyone can make hijrah, and not everyone can follow the other 2 paths either. But this particular path, this is where a majority of people are tested. Those who have wealth, they are tested. Those who don't have wealth, they are tested. Those who have, you are tested for moderation. And those who don't have, you are tested for patience and forbearance. And holding yourself from being drawn into the temptation, into the deception itself. The third solution is that of Majma' al-Bahrain, of finding a balance. Once again, it's about balance, of finding a balance in knowledge, because knowledge gives you empowerment. It empowers you to evaluate, to estimate, to understand, and to penetrate the deception. And this is the pathway of Musa moving from the outward knowledge of things to a more inward knowledge of things, moving the light of reason and having it placed under the light of revelation, and having a balance within the individual, an epistemological balance. This is the path of scholarship. If you can study those knowledges and sciences that are praiseworthy in and of themselves and are beneficial, not just to yourself, but to community as a whole, then dedicate, yourself to that. Because if you cannot be a solution to yourself, then maybe you can be a solution to others in terms of that knowledge benefiting other people. The fourth solution is more of a solution for those who are in positions of power, those who have ability to act, to physically act, and this is where leadership comes in. And that's the pathway of Dhul Qarnayn. And it is to observe how he manages that pathway, because there is careful judgment applied. And that careful judgment is also based on sound reasoning. All four solutions, by the way, are based on sound reasoning and sound judgment. Dhul Qarnayn is tested on the first part of his journey. When he succeeds in that journey, when he passes that test, then he's shown the second part of his journey. And he's tested again on that. How does he deal with the power that is given to him, the position and the rank given to him? How does he enact his ability of leadership? And when he succeeds in that, that's when he's given the final journey in which he can actually do something that is everlasting in the temporal world. But all four are based on judgment and sound reasoning. Whether you want to make hijrah, whether you remain where you are and moderate yourself and deal with the situation as it arises, or you take a path of learning and scholarship so that that knowledge can benefit, can come back into the society, or you take on the path of leadership. These are the solutions applied to you, because these are the four facets in which the Antichrist is going to attack. He's going to attack these four facets. He's going to attack faith. That's what the Ashab al-Kahf, they tried to preserve. He's going to attack wealth, health, indulgence. He's going to attack knowledge itself. And he's going to attack the structure of leadership.